I was responsible enough to go through high school, then college, and then I started teaching 6th grade. And that lasted for about 6 months, during which time I wanted to wring every one of those little necks.
This is in New York City?
Yeah. It was not an easy place. It was Spanish Harlem. All the little ones that come from broken homes, and if they didn't have authority figures at home, certainly they wouldn't react to authority figures in school. So it really wasn't their fault. It was mine. I think that I became a teacher for the wrong reason, and I found out only later. You see, no matter how well the lesson went, and it didn't matter how well I taught it, nobody clapped at the end of the day.
You wanted some.
Yeah, I want to know how well I've done. And certainly teaching is a performance. You've got to, not only have you got to give the information, but to make it interesting, you've got to use hand gestures and use analogies and say it's a performance. And you're on stage, you're much higher than anybody. Everybody's sitting. And it was, there's a beginning of the show, okay, time for the show to begin, and it lasts an hour, or however long the session lasted, but it just, you walk through the hallway and everybody knows who you are, you're famous, oh, there goes Mr. So-and-so, he's the so-and-so teacher. But it just wasn't enough.
You identify with Welcome Back, Kotter on television?
Oh, quite a bit, sure.
To a rock audience who've heard Led Zeppelin and seen ELO's laser effects, where does Kiss score in a rock act? Paul Stanley.
Well, the difference, I think, between us and most other bands that may have had some kind of show is that the show is part of what we are, whereas perhaps most bands build a show to accompany the group. Our show doesn't accompany the group. We are the show. And everything going on around us is just embellishing us.
Ace Frehley explains.
Every tour just got more elaborate because, we were known for the theatrical rock show, and it seemed like every time we went out on tour in the States, we had to top the last show. So the stage had to get bigger, and the effects had to get bigger, and we had to invest more money, and we ended up every tour adding another 18-wheeler, semi-tractor trailer. It just got crazy. Here we have 13 trucks. I mean, it's just insane. I use about 10 Les Pauls through the show. Each one has a different function. You'll see the show. One shoots rockets, one explodes, one smokes, one has the lights chasing across it. It's a circus,
There's a lot of preparation that goes into it, and I think there's a real change in everybody when they get into character, which is really remarkable. I mean, I've only been doing it a short time, and I even feel it happening to me now, and I see it happening to Gene, Paul, and Ace. It's like Ace said, being an actor, any kind of a performer, when you get into your role, you get into the part that you're playing, But this is a little bit beyond that because it's part of everybody's personality and their own characters. So it makes it that much easier for it to come out on stage, So actually what we're doing on stage is just living out parts of our personality.
Fantasies. As I said before, the four of us, the original four, designed their own makeup, and believe it or not, Eric came up with his own character.
Believe it or not.
A lot of people when we realized Peter was leaving to go off on his own career, we were saying, Jesus, we need a replacement. What's he going to be? Because he can't be a cat, because Peter was the cat. You have to get a totally new character. And, I was sitting there at the meeting with Bill O'Coin and the rest of the guys, and I said, I have a strange feeling the guy we find is going to come up with his own makeup and his own character, because that's just the vibe I got. It'll be fate. And it happened. He came up with the fox, the idea, that he designed the makeup, and he designed his costume. It was fabulous. Well, I've maintained the same characters. I've always played the role of the spaceman. Gene's always been like, the demon, the monster, And, the costumes have changed in variation, but still kept the same concept.
So, why did KISS succeed, combining rock and theatre, when other groups like The Tubes failed?
I've seen the Tubes many times. I know the guys real well.
Well, they've dropped a lot of the theater now.
Yeah, because it hasn't been working. You have to realize after a certain point.
Well, what makes KISS work? Yes.
I think that you can't ever make fun of yourself. I think that if you're an actor in a movie or a clown in a circus or a prime minister or anybody that does anything, you can't ever make fun of yourselves, because then you ruin the credibility of your own character. If a stripper comes out on stage and she's dressed for a part and she's going to act a certain way, if she comes out and she's self-conscious about what she's doing, then her whole thing is not sexy. She's got to be, and you can't giggle and say, "Oh, look how silly this looks." You know, you can't make fun of yourself. You have to be authentic and honest. And I think the Tubes were a great tongue-in-cheek parody of a theatrical band. That's why I don't think anybody ever took it seriously. If I get up on stage and I'm uncomfortable in who I am, if I feel awkward, in fact, the audience picks that up in a second, in a snap. You can sense, and the way animals can sense fear. It's the same thing. You can stare a lion down. He will not attack you if you've got eye contact, and you give him, this complete confidence stare. Cats will back off from that.
It was an interesting stage. It was after the first live album, and we were at a point in our careers where a lot of people were thinking that we were a one-hit wonder. In other words, the first live album sold phenomenally well, and the albums before that hadn't sold very well at all. So we were really, they had the gun to us to come out with something that would, quote, give us credibility, end quote. But we tried to, with Destroyer, spend a little less time writing about male-female physical endeavors and get into some other things. And Detroit Rock City is besides the music, the lyric and the whole vibe of the song I always enjoyed. I mean, it's about a fan who comes to the concert and doesn't make it, which is may sound a little grim and morbid, but it has happened, and it's just maybe something that you don't usually sing about.
New drummer Eric Carr.
My personal favorite? I don't know. I think Detroit Rock City actually is my favorite. That's the song that we opened the show with, and I really like it.
The merchandising industry developed because there were so many people ripping us off in the United States. Because we're such a visual act, obviously, we lend ourselves to merchandising. And with so many people putting out merchandising, a lot of it was garbage. So we decided that we would put out our own merchandising and control it, because we didn't want the kids getting ripped off. So that's why we got involved with the merchandising.
So why not live in isolation and just make money in records? When KISS tour, they lose money. They tour out of love for rock and roll.
Plus, we don't want to let our fans down. We do lose money on tours, but we make it back on record sales, so kind of one hand washes the other,
Also, when KISS do tour, they manage to do it in style. Here's publicist Daryl Samble.
Backstage at every KISS concert, a small village has to be created. And it's written into their contract that the local promoters must supply approximately 31 different items, such as real silver, 6 thornless long-stemmed roses, 2 pounds of fresh raw nuts, shelled, unsalted and excluding peanuts, 3 gallons of assorted fruit juices, 5 bottles of white wine, including 2 bottles of vintage Dom Perignon champagne, assorted dips, assorted fresh fruit, and a sliced fresh vegetable tray, to name just a few of the 31 requirements.
I think it's like a boxer or a football player who puts on his outfit and is not a different person The only thing that's different is the amount of adrenaline that's running through the body. Certainly a soccer or football player or a cricket player is not playing a role when he puts on his outfit. He doesn't become somebody else. He simply is the person who he is. He's just doing something else at a higher level of performance. Certainly if I'm playing a character by putting on makeup, then so are women. Grown-ups don't take Kiss seriously, but that doesn't mean that we don't. No. See, the people that follow the band, it's a very serious thing. The makeup is not making fun of anybody. It's real. That's why they put it on.
Right.
Superman is not making fun of himself. He's dressed strangely, a red cape and red boots and blue tie.
He's not spoofing, and he never drops it.
He's for real.
Absolutely not. No way. We want to continue. And Peter wanted us to, because he didn't think it was time for the group to end. It was just he wanted to do his own thing, and he didn't want to tour, as much as he had been in the past. He wanted to spend more time with his new wife, and well, we parted friends, and we're still good friends. In fact, he just bought a house 10 minutes from me, so we're neighbors.
We had a very serious decision to make. We started this as a foursome, should the band end because one person wants to stop. And we really had to think long and hard, and we decided that the three of us at least, liked this too much, and that we'd give it a try. If the fans accepted Eric, then we would keep doing it. And I will tell you that some of the fans come to the makeup. Some of the fans come to the show still in Peter's makeup, and we always speak well of him, and he always speaks well of us. But by the time Eric does his drum solo, it's over. Eric is the new member.
My band, the band that I was in at the time, was playing at this particular club the next night, so I invited him down to see the band, And after he saw us play, at the end of the night, he says, "Eric, you got to get out of this band." I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "I told him already that I'm getting out by the end of June," which I had already done. And he said to me, "Why don't you audition for Kiss?" So at first I looked at him and I said, "Come on," I said, "Don't bullshit me. I'm naive. I'm gullible. I believe you." He says, "No, Peter is leaving the group and they're auditioning for drummers." So I asked him what I should do, and he said, "Buy one of the albums, and it has the management company name on it. Call them and ask them what to do." So I went out Thursday morning and I bought Kiss Unmasked, right? And I called up Coin Management. I said, "Hi, I'd like to audition for Kiss. What should I do?" So the girl told me to make a tape of me playing and singing, send in a resume, typed up resume, and some pictures of me. So I did that, and I got it in the next Tuesday morning. It was a day late, I thought I was going to blow the whole thing because I was supposed to have it on Monday, and I didn't get it in. And I wrote it in Tuesday morning, and by the next Monday, I was in the band. So it was like every day I would do one step, and I would get a phone call that afternoon telling me come back the next day for something else. So I did one audition, and it was funny because after that audition, I felt really good when I first met these guys. It felt like we played together for a long time, and it was a really good feeling. But just to be on the safe side, before I left, I asked them for their autographs, to make sure so people would believe that I actually auditioned for Kiss. And
can you remember what sort of stuff you did on your audition tape?
Oh, you mean the songs that I did on the tape that I sent in? I did. I sang along with Shandy. Right? I played the drums along with Torpedo Girl.
All Kiss material.
Not all, and then I did 2 of Van Halen songs that I just played the drums with, But I only sang on the one on Shandy. So I just had, it was 4 songs, and it was to show me playing and singing. And that's what it was.
What was the name of the band you were in before you joined?
I'd rather not say.
Okay, all right. Are you aware, Ace, of any difference on stage to Eric's sound to Peter's? Like when you're on stage and say you're, as you say, been touring for 8 years and you're kind of standing there and playing another gig, another sit-in, you're wondering what time it is in New York. Are you all of a sudden aware that that's not Peter back there, that it sounds a little different?
Eric's a great drummer. Peter's a great drummer. It's, their styles are very similar. They're both hard rock drummers. I don't really notice the difference that much. Eric's really solid. I turn around, I see a guy with makeup. I don't have 20/20 vision.
Hey, where's the whiskers?
Sometimes I forget it's not Peter, and sometimes I think it is Peter. I'm spaced out. I'm spaced out by the crowd, and the audience and the bombs and everything. All I know is that he really holds the group together, and there's a solid beat behind us, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Well, Eric, Kiss is obviously.
Thank you. I get out of here.
Eric, Kiss has obviously changed your life. Do you think you've influenced theirs at all?
The group? No, the T-shirt.
New Zealand tour ends here in Auckland when Kiss play at Western Springs this coming Wednesday night. They return home to the United States for Christmas, and then it's back to recording the next LP, this time in Ace Frehley's basement studio. When the four of them made their solo discs, it was Ace who had the greatest success with a single, New York Groove.
Kiss on 1ZM. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the show at Auckland. We're going to rock on. You better be there. This is the Space Ace from Kiss. Ace Frehley, the baddest man in town. You believe that? Get out of here.